I had said to somebody the other day, it's easy to throw. It is easy to throw bombs from the hills, but not necessarily easy to defend the DMV. So take that how you like. You've really kind of hung your hat on the Department of Motor Vehicles here.
It's a big issue. The fact that the lines are getting longer, people are getting discouraged. This administration has done nothing to address the new licensing factor that the DMV is getting even busier over the next 2 years, but they've done nothing. They haven't brought on any new staff. They haven't purchased any new equipment like another camera to make sure that they're getting the photos done faster, because that's a big hindrance down there. And, people are seeing it. I go door to door and people are saying they start chanting, "Fix the DMV."
They chant on their doorstep.
It really is. It's one of the most amazing things you'll see. People, I went to a house last night.
Do you lead the chant, or does it just organically happen?
I was at a home last night. I walked up to the door. A young gentleman answered the door, and I said, "Hey, I'm Dave Gordon, running for county clerk." Meanwhile, another young gentleman's walking behind him eating a hamburger, and with his mouth full, he says, "Fix the DMV," starts chanting it. And I'm hearing this all over the place, that it's really resonating with people that there's an issue there and it needs to be addressed. And unfortunately, it's not being addressed, and it's something that we need to move forward with.
All right.
Trump had "Make America Great Again." Dave's got "Make the DMV Fast Again."
Yeah,
that's. I think you should. The "Fix the DMV" is pretty good, though.
I'm not sure the DMV ever was fast. It's always been kind of a thing, but in cities it's difficult. The traffic you receive in a Department of Motor Vehicles is intense for cities even the size of Utica.
Well, and in Utica we've got that big refugee population. I have the privilege of working with a lot of refugees based on they're my customers at my insurance agency based on my location. I get a ton of refugees. So I understand, the language barriers. They come in with interpreters. I've worked with the refugee center in many instances to understand what was going on. And that's something that's lacking at the DMV too, is how do we move forward with a process in which we can, have that we can work together, that we can understand what they're looking to do. A lot of times, a lot of these DMV workers, they don't understand the dialect. They're trying to decipher what the customer's trying to ask or what they're looking to do, and it clogs up the line. So one of the big things that I'd like to do is work closely with the refugee center to make sure that people are coming in with the right documents. At my insurance agency, before they leave to go down and register a vehicle, any of these anybody coming in for insurance, I fill out the DMV paperwork for them. I fill out the MV82 form, which is the registration form. I fill out their sales tax form, and I make sure that we've got a copy of their driver's license, title, everything that they need, so that when they go in the DMV, it's hassle-free and they can move forward. And that's one of the things I'd like to do, is more education behind the documents, so people are ready.
I like letting the dealership do it for you. Then you don't ever have to go.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of instances where people have private deals.
Yeah,
so there is no dealership involved. And
I'd be like, listen, I'll buy this private vehicle, but you're going to the DMV for me. I'm sorry.
I'll give you an extra $50.
If you want this sale to go through, you're doing this for me, because I ain't waiting that long.
And a lot of times people come in, especially the refugees, and they'll bring in the title, and it's not signed by the seller. Yeah. And I make sure to because what's going to happen is they're going to go down to the DMV, they're going to stand in the information line waiting for their ticket amongst a bunch of other people waiting, and they'll get up to the front of the information desk, and they'll say, "Honey, you got to have the title signed." And so then they've got to leave, and that could have been eliminated.
So are you implying that the refugees are clogging up the DMV line?
Well, I wouldn't say that that's the only factor. That's a big factor in Utica, because we're a refugee hub right here.
Okay. We have a few questions. Some people have some questions. John is in Utica, I believe, and a question on the DMV. Hi, John. You're on the radio.
Bill, I'm from Bridgewater. But, hey,
in Bridgewater.
I got a CDL. I went down last week to renew.
Yeah.
I was there when I first got there, I went to the information line. That took who knows how long. But once I got there, to renew a driver's license for a CDL, you got to go get a birth certificate. Well, I didn't know that. They didn't tell me. So anyways, I went to the City Hall, got my birth certificate, went back. It took me almost an hour and a half or more to get my renewal. And, what was this guy's name, Dave?
Dave.
And the refugees, he's right. Half of them, they can't speak English, so they have to have an interpreter there.
Okay.
And that just clogs up the line. Bill, I mean, there was people all the way out the door. The guy told me when they opened up at 8 o'clock.
I was there at 8. I was there once with my daughter when on her 16th birthday. She was all excited,
right?
And I'm like, honey, we're going to Herkimer.
Retreat.
You know, I almost went to Herkimer, but
we did, yeah.
My boss said, well, you can go on company time, and I didn't realize I was going to be gone for 2.5 hours.
Yeah, it's a long trip.
So,
all right.
But, yeah, I hope he does something, because it definitely needs to be fixed.
Okay, John, thanks,
hey, Bill.
man.
Bye.
Have a great day. John in Bridgewater. Mike is in Rome with a DMV question. 315-736-0186. Mike, you're on with Dave Gordon. He is facing off against Sandy DePerno for county clerk in Oneida County.
Yeah, I think my experience has been that DMV's really sped up quite a bit. I mean, you can go online; it tells you everything that you're gonna need, basically.
Yeah.
If you can't do it online, I mean, I don't mean to disparage his main platform, but I think that they've done a great job improving that.
And do you you go to the DMV in Rome?
I do.
Yeah.
And, it's like going to Texas Roadhouse on Friday and telling them to speed up.
Okay.
Getting me seated faster. I mean,
yeah,
if the place is packed, it's packed.
You know what they need is they need those little things you carry that the lights go off and they start to vibrate,
the buzzer to let
like
you know
at
when you're
Texas
ready.
Roadhouse.
I thought you were going to say they should allow peanuts where you can throw the shells on the floor.
There you go.
Or the cinnamon butter with roll.
That is funny. All right,
No,
Michael.
I think maybe if they got just some more information out that go online to find out exactly what you need to bring.
Right.
It might speed things
Might
up.
speed it
but
up
I think
even more.
they're doing a good job.
Okay. All right, Michael. Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
So he says they're doing a good job. They have sped up the process.
Well, you know what? There's always going to be somebody that's got an experience. There's going to be a time where you go to the DMV and you're able to get in and out. It's just that it's not very often. And I've heard from some people they've had really positive experiences. The people working down there are working hard. Out in Rome, there's 7 girls out there that work there. Here in Utica, there's 19. They do roughly the same amount of transactions.
You can't call them girls anymore.
Well, the ladies out there.
Yeah, no, very disrespectful.
They're out there. They're working very, very hard, but they need a few more hands out in Rome. A lot of people from our suburbs, they do head out to the Rome way because they know that the DMV and the train station's hard to navigate with congestive parking. You used to be able to park at the Doyle Hardware Building. You can't park there anymore, so it's hard to find a place to park there, and it's you've got to face those long lines. Right. So a lot of people are going out to Rome, and they're getting there, and they're finding that the lines are getting even longer in Rome because that's what people are doing.
That's where people are going. You're loading up the lines here. I have to ask you a question, too, about your financial disclosure.
Sure.
Have you filed?
So we're in the midst of doing that. One of the things you have to do is you have to...
Did you file an extension?
No, you have to file with the state for a PIN number. So up until Friday, this last Friday, I had not taken any donations from anybody. My entire campaign was self-financed.
I think you still need to, even though it's self-financed, I think you still need to report that
because
you're donating to your campaign.
Right, it all depends.
Or you're donating to your campaign.
Or you're donating to your campaign.
Yeah.
So we're compiling all that data, we are going to file. We're waiting for the PIN number from the state. We have opened our bank account. Things will be 100% transparent.
I do have to say, in fairness, if the Sandy DePerno were sitting here right now, she would say to you, you want to be able to run the clerk duties in Oneida County, but you can't maintain your own affairs here.
Well, I find it interesting that Sandy wants to talk about my campaign finances.
I'm basically saying it's hypothetical.
But
she really didn't say
But
that.
I financed my own campaign. I mean, let's talk about that for a minute. I'm out financing my own campaign using valuable resources that could be used for my family and my 4.5-month-old daughter. In contrast, my opponent Sandy started a new political TV ad disguised as a 321 Main Street ad, but it's obviously a campaign ad that addresses my self-financed ad that's been on TV. The only difference is her ad is paid for by the taxpayers. My ads were paid for by myself.
Okay.
I've heard this the last couple of days. They've been throwing around the words political corruption. Using taxpayer money for your own benefit, i.e. running a campaign ad using public funds. Now that's political corruption, and that's what's going on right now. And my campaign plans on filing a complaint with the State Board of Elections, the FCC, the state the state attorney general's office and addressing that. You can't run TV ads disguised as 321 Main Street ads addressing people's valuable time at the DMV, which is a direct reflection.
Those ads have been airing for years.
Yes, but the new ad that they came out with,
it makes it kind of hard to prove though that it's being used as a campaign.
Well,
ad.
it shouldn't be used at all, honestly.
But I don't think it's necessarily illegal.
In a real, true, transparent government or municipality approach, you don't even allow those TV ads to run.
Well, that would be changing. You'd have to change the law there. You'd have to make that law.
I just think she's.
You could say it's inappropriate, but illegal. I don't know if it's illegal.
Well, I think she's promoting herself using a TV ad paid for by the taxpayers during an election time, and I think that's
wrong. But as
wrong.
an incumbent, she has the right to do that. Well, same thing like when you get your direct mail pieces that come from the Assembly or the Senate, and it's done by the state. They get so many per year, and they kind of bank them a little bit towards election time. I find that to be a bit inappropriate, but certainly not illegal or corrupt.
Right. Well, I mean, when you're operating the DMV at a $1.2 million cumulative deficit over the last 4 years and then using taxpayer money to promote a system that's broken and promote your political agenda and campaign, I think that's wrong. Okay. And again, we plan on filing, and we'll see what the outcome is with those organizations.
Vic in Utica with a DMV question. Hi, Vic. You're on with Dave Gordon.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I've been calling the DMV 10 consecutive days, an hour every day, and they tell you, well, hold on for the next available representative.
Yeah.
And their phone just rings. You're not going to get anybody. They do not answer the phone. And that's all I've got to say about that.
Right.
We need a change, and good luck, Dave.
All right, Vic, thanks. You have, I will tell you this, you've hit on an issue.
Yeah.
You got people calling.
People think the county clerk only does DMV stuff now at this point.
Well, it's because it's the largest responsibility of the DMV.
No, it is.
I've had people come to me and say, well, is that the only agenda item you have? And I said, yeah, we could talk about envelopes and we can talk about stamps and stampers that we're going to use on envelopes, but none of that really has as close of an impact as something like the DMV. Yes, we handle mortgage recordings. None of that is applicable. None of that is really a big issue to people, except for the fact that the mortgage information, the recording, the documents, the cover sheets are not online, and we're the only county in New York that doesn't put that information online. And there is no sensitive information on there. I've worked with other county clerks around the state looking at that information to make sure that there's no personal information. There's a name, there's an address, and there's a sale amount. So for whatever reason, this administration doesn't want to have that information on there.
Michael in Utica, you're on the radio. Hi,
Mike.
Hi, go ahead. You're on with Dave Gordon.
Just two quick things. I went down to the DMV. They told me it was pretty crowded. I asked one, "Are you not busy?" They said they lengthened their day by an hour or so until 6 p.m. And they said it's usually pretty quiet there. So I walked in and walked out the next day. It was beautiful.
It was quick.
The extended hours is great because there isn't a lot of people there. The problem lies is in the morning when you open on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 a.m. Now, I sent out a press release about that I'm going to change that. I want the DMV to open at the same time every morning, 9 a.m. We're trying to look into the possibility of even opening at 8:30 so people can get in before they go to the office or whatever. But that inconsistency of hours is tough where, I mean, look, when you have a holiday on Monday and people go and they purchase a car on a Friday and they want to make changes, a private deal, and they think to themselves, oh, I'll go down Monday and I'll register the car, and then they go, shoot, Monday is a holiday. I'll go down first thing Tuesday. They get down there at 8:45 Tuesday. The line's wrapped around the building only to find out that the DMV doesn't open until 10. That's a problem.
But your experience, Mike, was a positive one.
Oh, yeah, and they're very helpful. The first time I went down, they triaged the line and said, what are you here for? They made sure I had the right form, and they said, yeah, if you want to come in tomorrow,
all right,
do it.
All right, we appreciate it. Thanks, Mike.
Can I have a question?
Oh, go ahead.
How'd the Gander Mountain thing work out?
Well, so that's still something that we're still I'm still pushing for. I've reached out to the town supervisor, the deputy supervisor.
It costs a lot of money to do that, though.
It's going to cost some money to do that, but like I had some great conversations last night with people. We can't afford not to. We're operating at a deficit. The only way to offset a deficit is by increasing revenue or cutting expenditures. There's not a lot of expenditures to cut at the DMV. You have a fixed cost, which is your employees. By increasing staff with some part-time employees, we'll increase revenue. So I'll give you an example. The average transaction at the DMV is between $80 and $100 is the transaction. We make 12.7 cents on every dollar. That means we make anywhere between $10 and $12 per transaction. If you're paying somebody $11 or $12 an hour for a part-timer to work there with no benefits, so it's not costing the taxpayers a bunch of money, they have to do one transaction an hour to cover their salary. We're looking at the average transactions at the DMV is about 14 to 15 transactions an hour. So we know that increase in transactions, that's going to make us money, and it's going to offset any additional costs.
Okay.
Two things quickly.
It's hard for me to refute that, but
I'm not going to try
Mike,
to.
I appreciate the question. Thank you.
I just want to throw a couple things out there. One is, okay, it seems like you're talking about adjusting the hours, and you can't extend the hours of a full-time person, but you're saying add part-time. So that addresses that. The point, though, is you're talking about increasing revenue where this isn't necessarily a business, where if I get more staff in my restaurant, more people will come in. It's not like someone's going to go buy another car or want to register another vehicle because it's fast and easy at the DMV.
What he's saying, though, is he's saying that instead of doing it online, they might do it in person. And
DMV retention.
There's a gamble there.
You should. When I travel throughout this district,
or they don't go to Herkimer County.
They go to Herkimer County. The dealership that I'm located in, they do their business with Herkimer County. We crunch those numbers based on what they sell in vehicles a year, only to find out that $7,000 to $8,000 in revenue is lost to our local DMV just from that one dealership. I travel the county. Everybody says, we go to Wamsville. I had the opportunity to meet the county clerk out there. They're buying a second camera in Wamsville. You're out in the middle of nowhere, Wamsville, New York, not to discourage or say anything negative about it, but disparage. They're way out in the middle of nowhere, and they're buying a second camera to address the overflow from Oneida County.
Herkimer County just called and said, keep things just the way they are.
That's right.
Finally, I'll do one more. Pat,
I just wanted to ask quick, is your goal to get out of Union Station?
No.
Pat in Utica.
Yes, I'd like to just say that I went down yesterday morning to renew my license, and I was in and out within 10, 15 minutes. I saw the sign that said fixed DMV, and based on my experience yesterday, that's wrong. I mean, if that's the whole kit and caboodle that you're running on, the DMV works fine, as far as I'm concerned.
All right, Pat, thanks, man.
All right.
A lot of people saying that. Dave, we are out of time, but would you debate Sandy DiPerno?
Of course. I think that
on the radio, of course.
Anybody running for office, they should have a healthy debate about the issues. I think it's important for the voters to understand the difference.
It is a bit low-hanging, the fruit you're talking about here, this DMV thing, and it's, like I said, it's kind of easy to throw bombs, but difficult to defend the DMV. But you have people calling in defending it right now. So
well, it's costing us money. Taxpayers are paying for the DMV services that they're not using because they're going out of town.
You will debate. So
I will do
we'll
that.
see if we can set that up. Got a break.
Thank you, guys.